Hey everybody, welcome to the program. Today's album is one of the most requested by viewers like you. So let's not waste any more time and get right into the 1979 classic double LP, London Calling by The Clash. Coming off a massive US tour in support of their second album, you would think The Clash would take a break. But no, instead they went right into the rehearsal studio working intensely for 3 months. In the end, they had a recorded demo that was basically London Calling as we know it today. By August of 1979, they started to formally record the album. Despite opposition from their label, The Clash brought on Guy Stevens to produce. They had previously worked with him on some of their earliest demos in 1976. Now, I think the reason The Clash wanted Stevens was that they needed to shake things up. The writing was on the wall, and if their next album wasn't a hit, they would be dropped from CBS Records. As Joe Strummer put it, Stevens was the ultimate cure for musical constipation. But that cure also came with a price. You see, Guy Stevens had a bit of a reputation in the music business, and not a good one. He was known for his destructive and costly production techniques. If you could call them that, they were more like mood setters. He was basically a nutball, going wild in the studio, crashing chairs, even swinging a ladder at the band while they were recording. He felt that it would add to their performance, reasoning that they were playing rock and roll, so it should have an unpredictable element. The craziest thing is that he went as far as pouring a bottle of wine across a piano keyboard as Joe was playing it. Some say he did this to make it sound better, while others claim he was trying to stop Joe from playing because he didn't want piano on the song. In the end, the damage was to the tune of 6,000 pounds, but for Stevens, it was worth it because it was his way of ensuring that the music felt alive when you dropped that needle. The album was recorded over a 5 to 6 week period involving 18-hour days, with pretty much all the songs done in 1 or 2 takes. The album was released on December 14th, 1979. Needless to say, the album was a success. Maybe not the massive hit they were looking for, but it did peak at number 27 on the US album charts and eventually went platinum in 1996. I mean, with a cover like this, how much more iconic can you get? The famed photo captures Paul Simonon smashing his bass guitar on the stage of the Palladium in New York City on September 21st, 1979 during the Clash Take the Fifth tour. Photographer Penny Smith took the photo, but she initially didn't want the photo to be used because she felt it was too out of focus. She has since admitted she was wrong. Paul said at the time he was frustrated with the way the show was going. The entire audience was seated during the whole show, and he just wanted to wake them up. In the end, he wished he had bashed his other bass, as the one he destroyed was the better sounding one. It's now on display at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio. I find it interesting that for them, the inspiration for the cover was Elvis's debut album on RCA Records, and for the band, that album represented the birth of rock and roll. Conceptually, they saw their album as the death of rock and roll, or at least the last word on the subject. Even the original title was going to be The Last Testament. The back of the album features more photos of the band. These were taken at a different concert in Atlanta, Georgia. I just wish there wasn't this barcode here. It just kills the whole presentation for me. Both of the records come in these printed paper sleeves, which is really cool because it has all the lyrics and more photos of the band at various times and some credits. These lyrics are really handy because it is really hard to understand what Joe Strummer is saying sometimes. Overall, I really like the presentation. I just wish this was a gatefold. I think that would have made this so much better, but I understand they were under a lot of cost restraints. I mean, this wasn't even supposed to be a double LP. It was just supposed to be a single album, but The Clash really pushed it to make that happen. They even took a cut in their royalties. I also don't like how this is basically your standard record sleeve. It's not actually boxed in how most single sleeve double albums are. So the records are just kind of jammed in there. If you have the money, I suggest picking up a Japanese copy because that actually is a gatefold, and the inside artwork is that of the inner sleeves of this album. This album goes all over the map musically. It's not like there's 19 tracks of London Calling. No. You go from punk to rockabilly to ska to soul, and it all works. It's a reminder that punk wasn't about a certain style of music. It was about doing what you wanted, dressing how you wanted, playing what you wanted. It was more about bringing different things together and going for it. And this album represents this idea well. The record opens with the title track, which needs no introduction.
Calling to the faraway towns. Now war is declared and battle come down.
Oh, this is such a fantastic song. It's really hard for me to imagine when this was new. We've heard it so much on the radio and on TV. Even the London Olympics used it as part of their advertising campaign. My favorite part of this song has got to be when Joe Strummer goes full-on epic eagle. Moving down to track 4, Hateful. This has got to be the most polarizing track for me. It starts off so cool with this sort of haunting humming and maybe a bagpipe. And then it just goes into this Bo Diddley rockin' number with hand claps. But it never goes back to that sound it has in the beginning, which is disappointing. The strange thing is, the longer I listen, the more I like the song, and I forget about the beginning. I just wish it went back to the intro sound for the bridge or something. Side 2 kicks off with Spanish Bombs. If you haven't heard it, go listen to it now. It's one of those deeper cuts that could have been a big hit, it just wasn't pushed by the record label.
Spanish songs in Andalusia, the shooting sides in the days of 39.
Okay, track 3 may very well be my favorite Clash song, Lost in a Supermarket. Strummer wrote the song by imagining what guitarist Mick Jones's life was like growing up in a basement with his mother and grandmother. Jones also sings lead vocals on this track.
I'm all lost in the supermarket. I can no longer shop happily.
Alright, confession time. Side 3 might be my least favorite side. It's not terrible, but it lacks any standout tracks for me. Flipping over to side 4, starting with track 3, I'm Not Down. I love this song. It's so good. So freaking good.
Beat up, I've been thrown out, but I'm not down. I'm not down.
And lyrically, the whole idea of the song, you being knocked down, pushed around, but I'm not gonna let it get to me, I'm not gonna let it bring me down. As someone who's been doing their best to be creative in LA, you have no idea how well I relate to this song. And speaking of LA, this song reminds me that so much of this music is perfect for film and TV soundtracks. And if I look back, I think that's really how I was exposed to many of these songs for the first time. Alright, I love the last track on the album, Train in Vain. It's a fantastic way to end a record and it makes me want to hear the whole album all over again. And to think this song wasn't supposed to be on the album. Originally it was going to be used on a flexi disc insert for the music magazine New Musical Express, but when that deal fell through, they tossed the song onto the master tape at the last minute and well after the printed materials were made, thus creating sort of an unintended hidden track, as there was no mention of the song on the cover, the label, or the inner sleeves. To my knowledge, only the UK pressing had a notation in the trail-off wax on side 4 announcing the name of the song. My US copy lacks this. Train in Vain was eventually released as a single along with London Calling, and it became their first top 30 hit in the US. And it makes me wonder, how many other hit singles were the product of the first and last songs off an album? This is an undeniable classic. From the cover art to the music, it's a must-own for any self-respecting vinyl head. But is it for everyone? Here's the deal. Because this is a double LP, there's a lot to ingest, and for me, there are some songs in here that are just okay, while there are others I can't live without. They give me literal chills. Part of me feels like this album would have been better as a single record release, but there's another part of me that goes, well, would it be better? It's one of those questions you can't really answer. I mean, what makes an album an album? Take away those lesser songs, and is it really the same record? Do those amazing songs need tracks that are a little less than amazing to stand out? I don't know. I still think this is a fantastic album. If you let it grow on you and you experience it as a whole, the songs you might have written off as too basic or generalistic start to have a voice of their own. That's why I feel like you gotta listen to this album a couple of times. I think it's a great record to put on if you got a long trip ahead of you. There's so much variety, it never gets boring. It just shows you that this band was influenced by many things and they weren't afraid to show it in their music. But what do you guys think? How do you feel about this album? Would this have been better as a single record LP? Let me know. Well, that is all the time I have for you. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I am your Vinyl Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Jones also sings lead guitar